My boyfriend, 25M, told me, 22F, he has a kink that I can never satisfy. A little while back I found a screenshot of some girl's Insta post zoomed in on her chest in his deleted photos. I questioned him about this and he told me had a kink for vulgarly facing a chubby girl he doesn't care about. I am pretty petite, 4 feet 11,100 pounds. But I do have large breasts for my size. 34D. I honestly cried pretty hard after finding this out because he fantasizes about doing this with girls who aren't me. But he tells me that I do sexually satisfy him. I'm not sure how to go about this. He's my first and only boyfriend and I don't know if this is normal in relationships. Everything besides that in our relationship is great. And I'm not looking to break up or anything. Is there anything I can do about this or just let it be for what it is? Some fantasies are meant to stay just fantasies. I once found out an ex of mine was really into porn where black women specifically were being similarly degraded during sex. I broke up with him because, and I'm surprised that this seems a minority opinion, having a kink of painfully sexually degrading someone you feel is lesser than you because they fit into a specific category and therefore you don't have to care about how they feel is an incredibly disturbing and problematic mindset. There's a difference between people being into weird kinky pornography and people being into dehumanizing and sexually humiliating certain groups of people. I would really think about whether this is someone you want to be with. He's telling you what he thinks of women. His kink is to sexually degrade fat girls by choking them with his dick. Do you really want to fulfill that fantasy? Also, do you feel comfortable with that? Sounds like he watches too much porn. The fact he even told you that is crazy. Now you have to try and live with that info. Disgusting. Sexually abusing a fat girl is my biggest fantasy, really? This is a great person? The kink alone would make me run far for the hills. Vulgarly facing a chubby girl he doesn't care about, that's so unhinged and misogynistic. I'd dip so fast for that comment alone. He sees women as sexual objects and not people. Baby girl, run. Do not look back. I personally wouldn't want to stay with someone who had such a desire to objectify and degrade another person for their sexual pleasure. I know it's normal to many people, but ultimately I don't think it's a sign of an emotionally healthy human. I mean, you can't satisfy it because he cares about you. This was never going to be for you and it's not even relevant to the relationship you have with him. He obviously doesn't find the hypothetical girl attractive. So you don't need to worry about other people taking his attention from you. Clearly he was embarrassed and wants this to stay a fantasy. This is a red flag to me because some people use the "it was just sex purely physical" line as an excuse to satisfy whatever fetish or weird kink they have, and seeing how he already said, "you could never satisfy" pretty much makes me think if the opportunity presents itself he won't say no. A man wrote this. Go home, you're gross. I'm all for sharing fantasies between partners. My GF has told me things that I either can't do as a male or may not be into, and vice versa. I think people need to stop the myth that you have to be everything for your partner or that they can't fantasize about things that don't apply to them. That said, I'm not gonna volunteer anything that doesn't pertain to my partner willingly unless it's just brought up during conversation. That said, I find his specificity and fetishization worrying. Glad I don't date weirdos with violent sexual fantasies. I personally would question why he wants to do this to someone. What makes this fantasy woman worth being treated vulgarly as opposed to you? Why does he want to mistreat a chubby woman? Or a woman in general? What is his exact definition of vulgar? Does it compare to your definition of violent? For me, it would be less about him thinking about other women in a sexual way. As many have said, it would be more about him thinking of women in a sexually violent way. That doesn't really sound like a kink. That's just an asshole. Kink, when done ethically, requires respect, even if it means being disrespected in the act itself. It sounds like he just hates fat people and thinks using them as fleshlights is cool. WTF? This is just nasty. I would be majorly pissed off this guy if I knew he had such blatant disrespect for other women. Would you even honestly want to be the girl he wanted to do this to? He sounds pretty gross tbh. Why were you looking through his deleted photos though? Sounds like you don't trust him anyways. It's pretty freaking weird that you are upset that he wants to do it to a rondo instead of you. The real issue is that he wants to do it at all. It is incredibly rapey. Wait, his fantasy is about degrading another woman and you are crying because you can't fulfill this for him? Are you hearing yourself?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.